Hello, everybody, and welcome to Online Classroom Meeting Etiquette Tips. That presented by me, Mrs. Fingers. I'm your math teacher this year. So let's start with the quick tips. So tip number one, limit your distractions and choose a quiet place to tune in. It is very important that you choose a place where you could actively listen, where you can be engaged, and where there would be no distractions. So it could be your house in a quiet room with a closed door, or it could be your backyard where you limit yourself to all the other interruptions. Tip number two, sign in as soon as you get the link. You need to pretty much get in the class before you get in the class. As soon as you receive the link, try it out. Make sure it works. Uh, it may say waiting for the host to start the meeting, or are you the only one in this meeting? That indicates that you're ready to start when needed. That way you are not 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late because you couldn't get in or you didn't know the program, etc. Next one. Say hello, then hit the mute button. When you enter the meeting, make sure that you say hello, introduce yourself. It's very important because I don't know you guys yet at the beginning of the school year. And make sure your microphone works and everyone can hear you. And then you hit the mute button. Mute is actually your friend. You mute when you're not talking, and you unmute when you ask to say something. That's the only time you can unmute yourself, when you are asked to say something. Be an active listener. That's our next tip. You need to be an active listener. That looks different. You cannot say, "Oh, I hear you. That's great. That's so nice. Thank you." You can't do that in an online classroom. What you have to do, you give thumbs up on the screen or hit thumbs up button under the participant list in the Zoom meeting. And also, if you're listening, you are looking in the camera or you're looking at the screen when you're listening. And if you're taking notes, you're doing it in your notebook and there is a pen in your hand and you quickly jot down some tips that you wanted to be adding to your notes that you previously taken in your notebooks using a pen or pencil. And then you're still looking up and paying attention to your screen. If you're pressing any buttons on the computer or you have your phone behind the scene, I know that you're not listening. Be a listener, be engaged in the class. If you want to get good grades and really understand the material, please do so. Next tip, utilize the chat. Ask in the chat versus interrupting the class. Be active in a chat. You can comment there. It's a good way to have little questions answered without stopping me or interrupting everybody. In the process, you might have questions, and here's an etiquette to ask questions. Just ask it in the chat if it's a small one. Other students might have answers for your question as well, so they can type their answers there. It's a good way to allow me for class rolling. You don't want to throw roadblocks in the process of me explaining and in the process of others learning. If you still have questions, ask at the end or through Schoology message. Hey, I still have question on this and this. At the close of a class, I will be able to answer that. And that way you're not taking other students' time and their attention from what I'm explaining. Next tip, update your notes, take notes on the notes. So what I mean is before the class, you take notes on the material and you're ready to update your notes. So when I'm going over the notes that you already taken with my explanations, I might elaborate on some material. I might add few more words to my explanation that made it clear, and here's your aha moment. Oh yes, I got this now. So you could add those few words, or you could highlight the important stuff that you need to remember, or you can add some tips to remember something that you need to follow up. It shows that you're processing the material. And make sure you don't type anything. When you type something, it looks like you're off task, emailing somebody. And again, make sure you're on mute. I don't want to hear that click, click, click sound if you're typing something. The last tip, when you're talking, look at the camera and speak loudly. It's very important that I could hear you and other students could hear you. And you are showing, and I could see your eyes, because your eyes, guys, say a lot of things to me, whether you're understanding the material, whether you are just saying something because I asked you to say something and unmuted you, or you fully engaged, you're with me, you're with everybody, and you are actually learning. So those were my few quick tips for online learning, and follow my next video. Thank you.